Muslim. I am just interested to find out what are your priority sector for financing to the private sector. And please tell me what is your experience in terms of defaults while dealing with the private sector vis-a-vis dealing with the public sector. Thank you.
We're pretty much open to all sectors. I don't think we have certain priorities, but certainly we are open to everything. As I said, we are doing general manufacturing quite a bit. It depends from the country to country, but certainly I think general manufacturing is an important area. Agribusiness in certain countries, particularly when it comes to Pakistan, India, Northern Africa. Agriculture is an important business for IFC. Agribusinesses, as the consumption is increasing, and therefore there's a lot more opportunities for the countries to actually grow their agri sectors. That's going to be an important area for us. Health and education. It is definitely a targeted area of IFC. Microfinance, we're doing that as well also. So we're pretty much open to everything. What we probably will not do, and I think this is one area we probably won't focus in, those on the luxury products. So, for example, we will do hotels, but we will not do resorts. So because it's a different market for us. So I think it's because of putting our development hat and saying, well, if the private sector can do it, there is perhaps no need for IFC. I think one of the things, I think that the defining factor would be, are we displacing the private sector, or is there enough capital available? And there is a role for IFC. If there is a role of IFC in this particular project, or any particular project, IFC would quite happy to look at that. Now, on the bankruptcy side, I think, like every financial institution, we do have some sick projects. I think we were talking about Ghana earlier on, that there are a few of them. In Pakistan, I think we have made a few mistakes as well. So there is always going to be some. We have done the provisioning, like everybody else, all the financial institution, we have provisioning. But it is quite manageable. I think at the moment it's about 3 to 5% of our outstanding portfolio.
Okay. Well, my name is Mirza Ikhtiar Baig. I'm the Consul General Honorary of Estonia for Thailand. I think your talk was quite impressive and very informative. I think my colleague sitting here commended you quite highly. Very clear English and very clear concept of your presentation. I just wonder, because we are not necessarily always in the profit-driven enterprises or projects. We normally got together, sometimes we come up with some idea of helping those who are disadvantaged. And especially if I may address, for example, like Haiti situation. I just wonder whether you could suggest as to how IFC could come in to support us in carrying out some of those so-called charitable projects. My question, of course, to you is whether your investment always requires certain minimum return on your equity. Now, if so, then of course we need to be a bit more innovative in setting up that kind of a charitable project to be more entrepreneurial oriented.
IFC focuses on sustainable businesses. So we work quite happy, we work very closely with NGOs in many countries. We work very closely with rural support programs in many countries as well. In many of these places where there is not enough returns to support the project because of the affordability issues primarily, then what we do is we mobilize donor funds. To give you a sense of that, we mobilize last year we mobilized $450 million of donor funds to support what we call the non-remunerative activities in many of the countries. And that could be charitable, as you call it, and I think we need to define, we don't call them charitable because we think that they need to be sustainable if they need to be done properly. But the sustainability could be on the longer term rather than the shorter term. So that's what we're looking for. But what we do is increasingly what we call the advisory services. We provide advisory services to many governments. So for example, We have done a project just out of the hat in Afghanistan, one of the poorer countries, is how to export what they call the fruit and vegetables. Now we have provided advisory services on that one to small and medium enterprises. We're also providing, we have a product which we have launched which is called the Business Edge Project. I don't know whether you've heard about that one. What it does is essentially, if let's say you're a business and you have suppliers, then what we would do is we would provide them education on how to maintain their books, how to apply for loans, how to provide better services to the businesses to improve the supply chain of the businesses. Of course, this is what we do. Of course, we don't make money on these things, but those are an increasing part of our activities. And give you a sense about that, IFC employs right now 3,500 people. We have about 1,200 people doing advisory services now. So a substantial portion of IFC work, not our profits, not our income, is devoted to these activities on the advisory services.
Presentation, and as you may have heard from our President, Honorable Arnold Foot, FICAD is very passionate, or at least President Foot is very passionate about trade development. And you have just spoken about IFC being able to offer advisory services. I'm also honored to be appointed as chairman of this Trade Development Committee. I envisage that in the event that we organize a number of trade expos in different countries, could we invite IFC to be one, some kind of a sponsor, two, inviting your officers to be on site to provide advisory services to some of the trade visitors that we would be inviting to visit such an event. Or, well, you're thinking aloud, are there any other ways in which IFC could also partner FICAD in developing financing of projects via our various trade development programs? Thank you.
Well, without knowing the details of it, I think I just want to mention two things. Of course, our biggest activity on the trade is financing. I think you remember that we are a financial institution. So that's what we do. We are, of course, doing something which we're increasingly doing something which is called a business enabling environment. That's a product which we focus on quite a bit to improve the environment in a country, which actually helps economic activities, including trade. I mean, this is a very important part of the economic activities in a country. So that could be the trade promotions. It could be focusing on the small and special economic zones, for example, and how those are set up properly and are used for the trade purposes. What are going to be the legal structures and the regulatory structures which promote trade generally, but economic activities also. Looking at the tax rules. So we do those kind of activities, and we'll be subject to what you want us to do. But certainly, I think in principle there is no disagreement to it.
Asked you earlier regarding Pakistan is facing a lot of power shortages.
Yes.
So a lot of rental power projects are being set up mainly by private sector, and they are having a lot of difficulty in arranging finance. So do you give this a priority, or do we have any special funds reserved for this, or how should we contact IFC? And the other issue is the microfinance, which you have mentioned. Are you already supporting some projects in Pakistan in the Grameen Bank of Bangladesh style or something?
Two questions, very separate sectors. On the power, I think IFC has been a supporter of the IPP programs from the very beginning. Yeah. We have, let me just see, 7 investments in Pakistan now. And the latest one is what we did, the hydro project, Larib. It has gone to the financial closing recently. We continue to focus on Pakistan. I think it's an important market for us. Although I think some in IFC will say that we're taking too much exposure of Pakistan nowadays. But certainly I think we realize it. Now the issue on the rental power generally it's a bit different. It's a tricky business, if I were to be candid about it. First of all, it is how sustainable this business is, because it's short term, because you're looking, by very definition, rental power is to fill in a short term gap. And the question really is where the long term